Anyone looking to have a vulnerable conversation? Hi, my name is Lauren. If you've never seen my face before, welcome or welcome back to my channel. That was a weird order. Yeah, that didn't really make sense as an order. Sorry, let's start that again. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Lauren. I am your resident intuitive baddie. Also forgot that part. But yeah, I'm moving through some, I would say, difficult emotions. Not difficult, but yeah, I felt called to be vulnerable. Actually, okay, let me get into this. So right now I'm feeling isolated, lonely. I feel in my head, to be quite frank with you. And it's such a contrast to what I was feeling last week, because last week, if you didn't see any of the previous videos that I've released over the past 2 weeks, my car got broken into, and I had used that as an opportunity to, for once, not be so hyper independent and ask and receive help. And I got an overwhelming amount of support. But in this moment right now, I feel very isolated. I'm at I have these moments every now and then where I've always been that person that kind of just never felt like I really had a best friend. And not to say that I haven't had best friends, because I do have best friends. I have a best friend. But when I say best friend, I'm talking about in the sense that, like a person that you feel you can confide in whenever something's going wrong, and it's like a mutually beneficial thing. Yeah, it's just I've never really, not never. I think there's been moments where I feel like I have experienced that, but I don't know. I think this emotion that I'm moving through right now is just this feeling that even when I had people that I felt that I connected with like that, there was always this looming sense that it was never super equal, or that I was replaceable. I've always been the type that felt like I always ended up in trios, I want to say. And in dynamics that are trios, I've always kind of felt like I was the one that could easily be cut out. And in a lot of instances I was. Or not cut out, but just like I always felt like I was the one that wasn't as close as the other two. And so I even remember around the time planning my wedding, just feeling like there wasn't anybody who I felt like would be, or that I would choose as my maid of honor, that would also choose me as their maid of honor. The person I did choose as my maid of honor for that wedding is my longest friend, and by definition my best friend, because she is somebody who, when I really, really, really need someone, I know that I can talk to. And I think it is the same for her, but it's like dire. It's, yeah, like she's the type of person where whenever we're in a room together, we can talk for hours, but we're not really ones to connect with each other frequently. And yeah, we've kind of had that over the years where there'll be some years where we don't talk as much, or we only talk like a handful of times. And yeah, I don't know. It's like I've always been kind of jealous of people who had that kind of bond, you know? You know when you see two friends and you're just like, oh yeah, that's her bitch. or, and not in like a negative sense. Like my girlies know what I mean when I say that. But yeah, like that main bitch vibe. I've always felt like I never connected with one person that way, where it was just like, yeah, I don't know. Because yeah, like I said, or like I mentioned before, I feel like I often end up in trios, and I often feel like the other two are always closer. Anyway, so yeah, I was sitting with that, because right now feels heavy. Like right now, I feel like I could use somebody who I could just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I'm moving through some heavy shit. Or like just some heavy feelings. Get me out of my head. And the reason why I decided to make a video, I actually had planned to go take a shower first, and I was already kind of getting this from my guides, but this feeling that it's intentional. And I think about a lot of the people that I follow on YouTube, or have been following on YouTube, like other channelers, tarot readers, that type of thing. And I do find that, and I don't know if it's just the people that I watch, but I do find this commonality in a lot of the creators that I watch that have that same sense, where they don't feel like there are people they connect with in their, at least in their physical 3D reality, that they really feel like that best friend companionship with, I want to say, or that super closeness with. And yeah, there's a card from the Starseed Oracle. I can't remember which one it is, and I'm not gonna go down to go get it, not right now at least, but that I want to say touches on this topic as well, that there's a lot of us that feel this way, and we're actually scattered amongst the earth, and it's almost as if the isolation, in a sense, is intentional, because it shapes us in a certain way that allows us to be the connector for many other people who, when it's time for them to awaken, we can activate them. So I was starting to get that sense of that sense, and I was going to go down to my room to go grab, like I said, I was going to shower, so I was going to grab some fresh clothes and possibly the Starseed Oracle as well, to maybe sift through and pull some cards for myself. But when I opened the door, on the wall was a reflection of a rainbow. And I'm looking up right now because the chandelier here that is just above me, it's one of those crystal chandeliers, so I believe that's where the reflection was coming from. But it basically looked like there were two sets of the rainbow kind of parallel, so a double rainbow. And that's why I decided to just sit down and film right now, because that was just such a beautiful synchronicity for me, because rainbows symbolize alignment and having faith, because typically a rainbow, or not typically, in nature, a rainbow occurs after what kind of, I want to say, the transition period from rain to sun. It's when the sun comes out, but it's still kind of raining, or it's at the end of the rain, because I guess the rays, don't quote me on this, do not quote me on the science of a rainbow, but it's that thing of when the light passes through the rain, you can see the hue of colors in the sky. And that's why it's special, because it's a rare event, because typically the clouds stay in the sky, right? So when the clouds are in the sky, they're blocking the sun, so you don't really get that effect. But sometimes there's just enough or I guess it must be that maybe the clouds are passing through, or some of the clouds dissipated enough to let the sun through, so that we can witness the rainbow. And the rainbows don't typically last long, so it really isn't quite an event whenever you can see one in the sky. That's just on like the symbolism of them, right? But obviously that's not the only way to see a rainbow. You can also see it when light passes through something like crystals, or a clear crystal, specifically diamonds, that kind of stuff. What else? Also, when you have oil or something on the ground, and then you get the light reflecting it. Yeah, there's a couple different ways. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, but that symbolism of hope and faith, and really what I think I'm moving through specifically right now, is, I don't want to say a lack of faith, but I keep hearing a depletion of faith, or that the faith is running thin. I've been on this path, or I've been fully embraced in this path for about 6 months, like since I left my day job. And I think I'm reaching a point of just feeling very burned out, in a sense. I'm seeing 9 of Wands and 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands. No? 9? I don't know. 9 or 10 of Wands. They're both pretty, they both kind of represent burden or exhaustion within them, because they're at the end of carrying so much burden. 10 of Wands is releasing. I think that's why I'm kind of like, that's why it's kind of like, oh, 9 or 10, because there's a part of me that isn't sure if I've reached the completion of carrying, I guess, specific burdens. Right now, what has been looming over me for the past few months is finances. And even if I didn't leave my job, I feel like that would still be prominent. Just the state of the world right now, just how much everything has gone up because of this war going on, or whatever. Sorry, not to make light of it when I say whatever, but I don't follow the news too much. I do my best to steer clear of any media programming. I feel for anybody who's affected by the war directly. However, I just send my light, and that's that. Or that's the capacity at which I'm able to, I guess, give to the situation. But yeah, anyways, so even without that, like, this is a burden that I know is in a lot of people's minds in general. And I believe wholeheartedly in, like, the law of mentalism, law of correspondence, all of the Hermetic laws, that basically that everything is mind, and that your internal state will reflect in your external state. And I think I've just been on this path so long of trusting, and having blind faith towards what I know I'm meant to do. And I've had so many synchronicities and so much confirmation that this is what I'm meant to do, and I am supposed to continue on this. I am a healer. I am meant to teach. I am meant to guide. I am meant to create beautiful, or help people co-create beautiful experiences with people, and create communities. I know, like, these are all things that I know I'm meant for, and I've been able to block out, in a sense, any feelings of lack towards what my bank account looks like, or in this physical reality of what money means, especially because I know that money is a construct. At best, it only has power because we give it power, right? We believe this is something that we need because that's what we were taught, and that's what the majority of everybody thinks. However, it's really hard to be in this 3D reality without it. And yeah, for the past 6 months, I've been doing my best to make sure that I stay aligned on my path no matter what, and I just trust that what I need is going to come in on time. And I think where I'm starting to feel exhaustion is, yeah, at the end of every month, I'm like, I feel like I'm just scraping by, and I don't want to feel that anymore. But at the same time, I'm not willing to go backwards. I'm not willing to step out of alignment in order to feel that security, especially when I know that this is a made-up security. One way I was thinking about it, I think I posted a TikTok about it, is, yeah, especially with this war coming in, or this war going on, it's like, if tomorrow we woke up and it was World War III, or like it had expanded outside of the country that, or the countries that are experiencing the war now, and it was literally everywhere, and it was like that serious, end of the world type of shit, it's like money would become obsolete. If it was the apocalypse, if zombies came or whatever, money would be obsolete, and that could happen at any time. Or if just they shut down all the technology, and because I can't remember which creator said this, but there is a majority of the money that people have or that exists is digital. Therefore, it doesn't actually exist, which is why if everything were to go offline suddenly, if like a comet passed or something and then technology just all stopped working, a lot of us would be technically broke. And again, I'm doing my best to remember that it's not real, but it's like there's a lot of things that are real. I have a car. If I can't pay for gas, the car will not move. If something, like with the break-in, if something happens to the car and I don't have the immediate funds for it, it's like, what am I gonna do? I have the space that I typically film out of, my studio. It's like that require like other people rely on me paying for what I have for me to keep it. And I think I'm just reaching that point where I'm just like, where's the abundance? Because it's just like, I feel it. I've been feeling it. And I also recognize that a lot of the people who are really rich or like have experienced a great windfall of abundance always have these kind of tower moments, and a bunch of these things happen just before, or feel almost on the brink of giving up. And I think for myself, I've had a lot of moments that felt like that, and obviously I'm okay right now. In a sense, I'm okay. Or I've gotten through 6 months of not having or not being employed by an employer, or being employed by somebody else's business, just being on my own. And yeah, I think I'm trying to be very careful with what I say, because I haven't been associating myself with the idea of lack or any of those terms that allude to lack in so long. But yeah, there's just like, it's like I still live in this 3D world. So it's like, it is still something that I have to consider. And I guess like the whole thing of trust, and that a lot of manifestation is just trusting that, especially if you're in the right vibration, that it's coming, and that you just kind of have to go with the flow. And I have been. And I guess I'm just here sorting through these thoughts with you, because yeah, I don't feel like I have a person to confide in with that as well. But I'm going back to the whole rainbow thing and what I was saying earlier about this being intentional, because this is showing me something. And it's like every single time I have this kind of feeling, and then I'm met in another week or another moment in time where I have a certain synchronicity, I almost get this feeling of, oh, I was still meant to experience this before a windfall. for example, like, yeah, there's so many things that have had to happen, and I understand it as happening because this huge level of abundance is coming in for me. But even with making these videos, it feels hard sometimes because I'm like, it's like, am I crazy for preaching this to other people when the proof hasn't come in for me yet? And I think that's why I'm in my head. I had the synchronicity happen yesterday that I was cleaning my daughter's room, and there was this empty wallet I found. And when I opened it, there was a spider in the middle, and spiders are weavers. So how I interpreted it was, something is being woven into my life right now, and my wallet will no longer be empty. I put it out on TikTok, and yeah, sometimes when I put out certain messages, that and love too, I'm like, I think it's that whole thing of self-doubt, like, what if I'm wrong? Or just like, am I feeding into people's delulu? You know? But again, I know I'm meant to do this, and I know I'm meant to share these messages. I know I'm meant to share these insights that I have. So yeah, it's just allowing the unfolding, and again, just trusting. I don't really know what else to say now, without just going in circles, I want to say. Because unlike most of my videos, I don't feel like there is any real advice here that I can give you at the moment if you're moving through the same thing, other than to say to trust. And I think it's just, here I am, just gonna ramble and keep going, but I really feel like this is meant to just really, really, really test my faith and in myself. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple instances of that in so many ways. And I'm sure that I'm gonna have a moment in the next few days or so where I'm gonna have or something's gonna happen, and I'm just gonna be like, that's why it still hasn't happened. This needed to fall away, or I needed to gain this experience to understand. Because yeah, looking back at any of the other times now within this year that I thought I was ready, and I thought that the abundance was coming in, not even just in the past year, but like in the past couple of years, there's so many times where I thought it was coming in for me, and then I realized why it hadn't. For example, a few years ago, when I want to say my very first download of the fact that I always believed I was meant to be wealthy, but I feel like there was a point in 2023 where I recognized that it was meant to be overflow, or more than what I believed I could have. And I had a realization a couple months ago that if things had happened for me then, I wouldn't have been ready because I wasn't financially literate at the time. And if you don't already know, it's like the reason why a lot of people lose their wealth after, or for, sorry, a lot of people, the reason why a lot of people lose all the money after winning something like the lottery or after coming into a lot of money at once. You could also think about it if you've ever if like you've seen some people with an inheritance or that have gotten a huge settlement out of something. If you don't really, if you're not financially literate and there's a lot of other things that you aren't physically prepared for, if you haven't prepared your nervous system to receive that amount of money or anything like of that nature, typically those people lose it because they're not prepared to have that much. They have no plan, and so they spend and spend and spend, or they give away, and then until there's nothing left within a few years. I think I would assume even less than that for some people, depending on how reckless you are. And like even within my business, I recognize that if it had happened at earlier points when I really felt broken down by the fact that it felt like it wasn't working or that it wasn't taking off yet, I truly, 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 truly believe in divine timing, and I truly don't believe that spirit would ever leave me hanging, but I'm still human. I'm still human, and of course I'm still gonna have fears come up, but it's, I guess, to leave this or to end this video off, it's all about just sitting with that fear, sitting with that uncomfortable feeling and letting it ride out. So I want to thank you so much for being here with me while I did that in this video. If you feel called to work with me on any conscious work, if you need somebody to talk to and work things out with, find me in the description. And again, if not, I really, really want to thank you for being here with me. 33 on, oh wait, no, sorry. It was 3303 when I looked up and said that, but yeah, like I'm really, I do believe that a part of me being isolated was so that I could be the person for people to come to. I'm about to start another tangent. I might actually just re-record this again, just like more concisely. I'm still gonna post this because I do think it's nice to share being vulnerable and just have some videos that are just streams of consciousness. I've been trying to be a little bit more intentional when it comes to my videos so that I'm making sure that my information is concise and delivered in such a way where people want to receive it. Because I find that the videos in which that I ramble, sometimes it's really hard to follow what the fuck it is I'm saying. And it's like, I totally get why people would click off. And yeah, it's really not about views for me. It's just, I just want to reach people. I just want to help people. And obviously the views or the duration to which people stay is a reflection of how many I was able to help. And yeah, I'm happy that I have people that do consistently view and that do feel connected to me on here. But yeah, I would like to expand that reach, and I'd like to make as much of a difference as possible. So yeah, if you feel called to work with me one-on-one with that, find me. If not, until next time.